Hey there everyone, this is Tech Jazz coming to you with a deck tech video for standard red-white dwarven vehicles. To start, I'll go through each card in the deck, explain what it does, and explain how it contributes to deck. So I will go ahead and start with our creature base, which for this deck we are running 5 dwarven creatures, starting with gearshift ace, who's 1 white, 1 colorless for 2/1 dwarf pilot with first strike. Whenever gearshift ace crews a vehicle, that vehicle gains first strike until end of turn. Next we have restoration specialist, which is 1 white, 1 colorless for 2/1. Pay 1 white, sacrifice it. Sacrifice Restoration Specialist, return up to 1 target artifact card and up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Next we have Veteran Motorsmith, who's 1 white, 1 red for 3/1. Whenever Veteran Motorist enters battlefield, scry 2. Whenever Veteran Motorist crews a vehicle, that vehicle gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Renegade Wheelsmith, 1 white, 1 red, 1 colorless for 3/2. Whenever Renegade Wheelsmith becomes tapped, target creature can't block this turn. And finally, for creatures, we have depala Pilot Exemplar, which is 1 white, 1 red, 1 colorless for 3/3 legendary creature dwarf pilot. Other dwarves you control get +1/+1. Each vehicle you control gets a +1/+1 as long as it's a creature. Whenever depala Pilot Exemplar becomes tapped, you may pay X. If you do, reveal the top X cards of your library. Put all dwarf and vehicle cards among them into your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So from there we'll go down to vehicles, which we are running 3 sets of, starting with Consulate Dreadnought, 1 mana for 7/11 vehicle, artifact vehicle, crew 6, and crew is tap any number of creatures you control with total power 6 or more. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature till end of turn. Mobile Garrison, 3 mana for 3/4 vehicle. Whenever it attacks, untap another target artifact or creature you control. Finally, on vehicles, we have Peacewalker Colossus, which is 3 mana for 6/6. Pay 1 white, 1 colorless. Another target vehicle you control becomes an artifact creature until end of turn, crew 4. Now finally, for support spells, we have Siege Modification, which is 2 red, 1 colorless for enchantment aurora. Enchant creature or vehicle. As long as enchanted permanent is a vehicle, it's a creature in addition to its other types. Enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and has first strike. And then Welding Sparks is 1 red, 2 colorless instant. Welding Sparks does X damage to target creature, where X is 3 plus the number of artifacts you control. Then finally, for land, we're running 4 dual lands, and then 8 and 8 on mountains and plains, because of mana being pretty much the same. Red is technically has 1 more red mana symbol because of siege modifications, but it doesn't really hurt the deck any. Now I'll go ahead and explain how the deck really works and all the things in it. So right off the bat, it's based on getting your vehicles out and making them your offensive for the deck, while dwarves pull defensive. To help with the offensive part, we have the motorist and wheelsmith and gearshift, who gives first strike, +1/+1. It makes it to where creatures your opponent control can't block. And for additional aid, Delpa with the +1/+1. What makes the creature base for this so good is with Delpa, it makes it to where you're not so reliant on winning with vehicles. She makes it to where the dwarves can actually be a formidable opponent, making Wheelsmith a 4/3 motorist 4-2, and then gearshift ace and restoration specialist 3-2. So she makes them to where they're relatively decent. And on top of that, if you attack or even just tap depala, she just filters the deck so quickly. And since your only two non-creature cards or vehicle cards are siege modification and welding sparks, she's just so amazing to just filter everything you need onto the field and just overwhelm your opponent. Right off the bat, first combo in the deck, it's a combo everyone has seen in Ether Revolt, is Consulate Dreadnought with siege modification. So assuming you drop Consulate Dreadnought turn 1, turn 3 drop siege modifications, which then makes Consulate Dreadnought a 10-11 with first strike on turn 3, who is going to attack that turn. Not a lot of people can withstand a 10-11 on turn 3. Then later on in the game, depala makes Dreadnought into essentially an 11-12, and with first strike, that's just hard to walk over and just hard to deal with. Mobile Garrison is in here mainly to make it to where it's an offensive creature who can attack, and on top of that, the creature you tap to crew it can untap, which makes it to where it could be used again for peacewalker or consulate. So it probably my least favorite of the three vehicles in here, but still a very good vehicle, very helpful. And Peacewalker Colossus, mainly because it's a 6/6 who crews for 4, which, I mean, any of them are easily capable of jumping up to a 4 power to crew it. And on top of that, if you don't get siege modification, the 2 mana just to make Dreadnought into a creature is worth it. So it's all the way around just worth having in the deck. Siege modification, like I said, primarily on Consulate Dreadnought, but I've also found use on using it on the dwarves and even on the other vehicles. It just is an amazing card for this deck, and it just works really well with how everything is designed to function within the deck. Then Welding Sparks is in here for a kill card. Essentially, you normally have at least 1 or 2 vehicles on the field during the game, so I mean, 3 mana to deal 5 damage. It's not the best, but it's standard. I'm okay with it. Unless you're going up against the 1/1 counter green black or green white in standard, it's gonna probably be able to kill just about anything aside from Gear Hulks, which, I mean, Consulate Dreadnought is easily capable of blocking a Gear Hulk, so that's not a big deal. Overall, it's pretty well rounded. The creature, it can function without the vehicles, making it to where the dwarves attack, but it does cause issues here and there due to the fact that the dwarves are really meant to just crew the vehicles. On top of that, it's really just meant to make these 3 offensive. But overall, a really fast deck with the highest mana cost being 3 mana in the deck. Biggest issue, life gain. I can't figure out a way of playing adequate life gain. I thought maybe like a fumigate or some, but it's life gain isn't some I was able to really find a way of squeezing in here very well. But overall, it doesn't really need life gain. I mean, if you're able to get Dreadnought and Peacewalker out, you can easily just sit there defending and swinging every now and then. I mean, Consulate Dreadnought is gonna kill just about anything that gets in its way. Like I said, pretty stable deck, very cheap to build. I believe most expensive is either Peacewalker or Depala, both sitting at like $1. So very basic, cheap design. Everything else is common or uncommon aside from Depala or Peacewalker. Overall, like I said, just decent deck. If you have any questions or comments about it, please leave a message below, and please like and subscribe. Thank you.